All right, it is 4:30. We will call the November 20th council meeting to order. We'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance and an invocation by Frank Stevenson. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We just come before you, Lord, just humbly asking, respectfully seeking your granting discernment, wisdom, insight, Lord, for conducting the affairs of this community on this council. We just trust and rest in your faithfulness to do that, to your ability and willingness to overcome our weakness and inadequacy to accomplish that. And we just praise you in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Kim, can we have a roll call?
Yes, sir. Misty Cavanaugh. Here. Tony Space.
Here.
Adam Townsend. Larry Knopfinger.
Here.
Frank Stevenson.
Here.
Chad Minzer.
Here.
Mayor, we do have a quorum.
All right, our first order of business will be the approval of the minutes from the November 6th meeting.
The November 6, 2023 meeting was held at the City Council chambers at 4:30 p.m. It was called to order by City Council member Frank Stevenson. We had the pledge and invocation by Chief Steve Bryan. The council members were all present except for Misty Cavanaugh, who was absent. We also had approval of minutes of 10/2/2023. We had approval of the special called meeting minutes of 10/9/2023. We had approval of bills and payroll. We had department reports. We had zoning and permit reports of September and October. We had business license report. We had a resolution to enter into an amended agreement with Nebo Water District was approved. We also had a resolution approving the granting of local incentives to Ostrom and any subsequent assignees or approved affiliates. Thereof pursuant to KRS Chapter 154, Subchapter 32 was approved. We had a proclamation for Small Business Saturday. And then we had a citizen to address City Council, and then we had an adjournment.
All right, are there any corrections to the minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move.
Do I have a second? Second. Have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we'll have the approval of bills and payroll.
We have the total general fund of we have the total general fund of $388,628.83, total sanitation of $63,803.96, total electric utility of $221,264.50, total water filter of $40,170.69, and total wastewater collection and treatment of $81,822.38. We also have a biweekly payroll, governmental of $54,070, police $161,897, fire of $148,446, transportation of $31,165, cemetery of $5,136, park $19,115, sanitation of $47,278, light fund of $91,757, wastewater treatment of $21,131, wastewater collection of $32,683, water and filter of $56,566, sportsplex of $3,085 for a total estimated biweekly payroll of $672,328.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the bills and payroll?
Move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, we will have the recognition of some special guests. We have with us our State Representative Wade Williams. Wade, if you would like to step up to the mic there and just share some information with us on what's going on.
I don't turn it on, do it. All right, thank you, Mayor and City Council, for having me today. I'm kind of making a round tour here to all the city entities just to give them a heads up and an idea of hopefully some good news for everybody. But I know, Mayor, you're aware of this, but there's a couple of large spending bills I think we're all aware of that the federal government passed within the last couple of years. One of them being the Inflation Reduction Act, and the other one is, I forgot the name of it right now, I'm sorry. But there's two large spending bills that they passed, and there's a huge amount of money designated to the localities, the local states and cities, and well, to be passed through the states. for funding projects. And these projects, I think the intention were large infrastructure type projects, the water, the sewers, those type things. So not only are those eligible now, but we're seeing a lot of other projects make it through, parks, you name it. And there is a large amount of money that's available for this, hundreds of millions of dollars that's available. And the good thing is that part of that, one of the spending bills was it was targeting coal displaced cities and counties, or states basically. And they broke the states down, and Kentucky is ranked higher than most other states, and they broke that down even further into individual counties within the state of Kentucky. The good thing is that Hopkins County is higher on that list, and Kentucky is higher on that list than any, not than any other, but I think it's like sixth highest that we have availability to that money. So that lends ourselves to a problem sometimes with smaller cities, even the city of Madisonville, having the ability to have funds available to match those grants, because sometimes it's up to a 50% match. What we did in the legislature last year was we created a bill with House Bill 9, which it created basically a savings account out of state funds that would allow locals, counties, and cities to be able to use that money as match money for this House Bill 9 money. Is what we're calling it, House Bill 9. Now, the way the law was written, it was going to go through the ad districts. PAD is our ad district, and but they've also told us that don't solely rely on ad. Touch base with the ad, keep them in the conversation. But I've had a lot of cities talk to me about hiring private grant writers or tagging on with other cities. So anything they can do to be creative. But my urgency is that we don't want to miss this. If anybody's going to get this money and spend it, let's us do it, because there's a lot of big projects that we'd like to do. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And if there's anything I can do to help, letters of support, whatever else, it can't come from me. It has to come from the local agencies. But I'll be glad to help in any way I can. Having questions or anything about it I can help with?
Representative Williams, we appreciate the information, and as you and I had some conversations earlier, I think we have 13 projects, is that right, Lincoln, that we've submitted for that House Bill 9 fund, somewhere in that 12, 13. So we've submitted a wish list, and if you can help us watch those and move those through
Absolutely.
For approval, that would be great. Part of those will go towards the West Knoll Interceptor, is that correct, the West Side Lift Station? And then the phase 4 that we had to take out for, yeah. So we are definitely excited for those funds, and we'll take those as soon as you can push that through for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else from anybody?
Any other questions for Representative Williams?
Thank you.
Had Councilman Knopfsinger bring something to me earlier about possibility of getting a town hall tied together maybe after the first of the year with the state VA and talk to veterans about available resources or how to apply for resources and all those kind of things. So we're kind of working. We're going to talk about that a little further too.
Great. Well, we appreciate the work. We appreciate the relationship that we have in Frankfort. It's nice to have our own representative. Not that our other representatives didn't do a good job, but when you live in Hopkins County, you focus on Hopkins County. So thank you so much for your work, and we appreciate all that you do.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, next we have some other special guests with us. I'm going to ask Brad Long if he'll come up to the microphone and introduce our special guest. You all saw that we received a grant for rebranding and marketing, so I'll let Brad take that over.
Yeah, so council members, it's nice to see you guys tonight. A couple weeks ago, we were able to introduce or acknowledge the fact that we received a grant through the EDA for a marketing and rebranding campaign, something that we've been working on for, gosh, probably a year and a half now. I think Heather and I have been speaking for at least that long. So we're excited to contract with a company called 13 Ways, and they specialize in working with communities and local municipalities on marketing and rebranding and community engagement and community assessment. So excited to have them here. They're going to be spending a couple days with us. I'll invite Heather and Alex to come up and just share 30,000-foot view of kind of what they do, and hopefully we'll be able to get to hear from some more from them later. So Heather, Alex.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'll just give you guys a quick intro on myself. I'm Alex Ritziu. I work with Heather and Doug at 13 Ways. My background specializes in municipal politics at both a very small local level and then a national level as well. Former communications advisor to mayor in the city of Edmonton, as well as chief of staff at the province's first economic development organization, Invest Alberta. And so we're really here to focus on how we bring a little bit of vibrancy back with a rebrand and engage in a community assessment over the next 2 days. Our focus is going to be peppering everyone that we meet with a bunch of questions, really to kind of drive into the core of what's working well, what's tricky, and what are the areas that we could do differently. I'll let Heather talk a little bit to the scope of the work as well.
Thanks, Alex. Yes, hi, my name's Heather. I have been working with Doug Griffiths at 13 Ways for about 6 years now. My lens is I specialize in economic development from a consumer perspective. So really that consumer behavior expert sort of lens on things. And I like to look at different research as it relates to how people are spending their time and money and marketing communications. Really the scope of this work for this particular project is going to be, we're going to do a community assessment, which is really going to take place over today and tomorrow with lots of different kind of conversations. And from there, we'll be able to give a report as well as some recommendations that come out of the assessment. And then we are doing a really robust communications and marketing strategy. I understand that your community had a rebrand, and so we won't have to worry about like the logo and things like that, but really, what does the new marketing strategy look like? How are we really, I think even I can speak really quickly on behalf of both of us today, we're really impressed by a lot of the things that's already taking place here. Very impressed. And so I think it's a great jumping off point to kick off this marketing and communication strategy. And then a new website. So I'm really excited about that. I can't stop thinking about cool opportunities for really how we can bring your community to the digital forefront and really help aid in all the work that you're already doing. So I think that this process will probably take anywhere. I think we're slated to really wrap it up in like early spring is what we're hoping for, and really looking forward to as many conversations as possible. We want to be as accessible and transparent. So we'll have all of our contact information. We want to know everything that you know because we want to make sure that we are representing your community in the most authentic way possible. And we really appreciate the hospitality and thank you for the opportunity to let us come here.
All right, well, thank you all very much, and I know that we'll be hearing from you a little later. When they say they have a few questions or a lot of questions, that's an understatement. They have a lot of questions, so and that's exciting. We love answering those questions and look forward to seeing what the future brings with the relationship with 13 Ways. So thank you all very much. We'll see you shortly. All right, with that being said, we'll move on to department reports. And we'll start with our fire department report with Assistant Chief Jeff Mayfield.
Good evening, Mayor Cotton, City Council. So this report is going to actually be a 2-month report for September and October of 2023. During those 2 months, the Massillville Fire Department responded to a total of 280 calls. 193 of those calls were EMS medical-related calls. 87 were fire calls. There were 44 calls overlapping for a percentage of 16%. The pre-incident value for fire-related calls was $638,100, with a total fire loss of $288,000. The average response time from dispatch to responding was 1 minute, 16 seconds, and from dispatch to arriving on the scene of the call was 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Average time on scene was 19 minutes, 55 seconds. Our personnel participated in 4,220 hours of training for September and October. There were 81 pre-incident inspections completed, 3 fire prevention inspections, and 268 code enforcement cases. 55 community outreach programs were presented those 2 months with 3,291 adult contacts, as well as 3,824 children contacts. A lot of those contacts came because October is Fire Prevention Month, so the fire prevention officer was in every school inside Hopkins County, not only in the city, but as well as Hopkins County, presenting fire safety messages to those children. So, any questions?
Questions for the Assistant Chief? All right, thanks, sir. Next, we'll have our Police Department report with Chief Steve Bryan.
Good afternoon, Mayor Cotton and council members. We'll be doing 2 reports tonight too. We'll start out with September. Total call responses in September, 4,214. Total arrest, 147. Felonies, 46, and non-felonies, 101. Total accidents, 50, and average response time, 4.1 minutes. So on to page 2, drug seizures for the month, the total street value, 5,239, and the most common was methamphetamine. Page 3, traffic accidents, highest times were Fridays at about 2 p.m. And then on the last page, Part 1 crimes down 2%, all others down 8%, and total down 7%. So any questions about September before we move on? So for the month of October, Police Department answered a total of 3,735 total call responses, made 130 arrests, 37 felonies, and 93 non-felonies. Investigated 58 accidents, and average response time is 3.7 minutes. On to page 2, drug seizures for the month. Total street value, $49,142.11. And again, methamphetamine was the most common drug seized. Page 3, traffic accidents, highest times were Thursdays at around noon and 4 p.m. And on to the last page. Part 1 crimes down 3%, all others down 7%, and total down 6%. That's the month of October. Any questions?
Questions for the chief? Chief, thank you very much. We were out at the training center today, and it looks like you all are making some great progress, so it's always good to see that. Next, do we have any new business to be brought before the council? If not, Councilman Townsend is not here, so we are going to need a motion to adjourn.
Motion we adjourn.
You didn't hear you. You go ahead and speak up.
Faster. All right, we stand adjourned. Thank you.